Cool.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome after some technical
Thank you.
difficulties that are maybe
Yeah,
still happening, but we're just going to roll with it.
we're gonna roll with it. This is not new for us.
No,
No,
we've put out
no,
bigger fires.
exactly. Yeah. I'm so happy to be here.
How are you?
I'm good. It's Friday. Weather is warming up. I'm here speaking with you. Yeah, I'm good. I'm back in
Yeah.
the quote unquote winter of the East Coast. I spent a week in the sunshine visiting family in Florida, and so it was kind of a rude awakening. Um, I just keep relearning. I'm just not a big winter person, and I'm okay with that. I'm just gonna own that. I'm gonna stop resisting it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny because I'm having like kind of no, I wouldn't say opposite experience, but I'm realizing after spending 5 years in tropical climates that I don't know that I'm a tropical climate all the time person anymore.
Mm.
And having spent the winter, and I put winter in air quotes because as someone from Chicago, this to me was not winter, but I spent the last 6 weeks in Portugal in their winter, which to me was like divine. Like that
That
temperature.
sounds amazing to me.
Yeah, it's like sweater weather, but like not winter coat weather.
Yeah, I love that. I'm cool with that. Like, as long as I'm not slipping on ice on sidewalks, you know? Like this, it's hibernation here. It's just straight up hibernation here. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
yeah.
know if I could do that. And where are
No,
you?
I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And honestly, as Canada goes, our winters are not bad because we're right on the ocean. So we end up with some
Mm.
temperate, like, weather patterns. Like the Quebecois people, the people in northern Canada, like they're laughing at me right now, being like, "Girl, you don't even experience winter." But yeah, we get enough snow, and I just haven't really adapted. I haven't adapted to snowshoeing. I like skiing, but like I have to drive 2 hours to go ski. It's just a thing. So
Yeah.
I'm things are thawing out here, and I have some travel plans coming up for this year. So, yeah, we got
Very.
things to look forward to. But I'm also like, it's funny. I'm gonna go right into a pattern that like I was aware of in myself, which was a burnout cycle when I was working, where it was like I kept making excuses to stay, to stay, to stay. And then when I realized it was a pattern, I was like, okay, this is a me thing. This is not an external thing. So I'm kind of like taking that same approach to this like weather and travel situation. Like it's not the weather. This is a me thing. Like I need to find ways to be joyful and satisfied and fulfilled no matter the external circumstance. And to be honest, human design has really helped me figure that out. So anyway, yeah,
I love
that's
that. And again, I resonate so much. I've been having similar realizations recently around, and it's funny, I think it goes back to like our corporate upbringing, which we will dive
yeah,
into your story in a moment. Um, and that like grind mentality of you push through. You just
yeah,
like and it gets you into cycles of burnout and both of us undefined spleen, tendency to hold on to things that are no longer good for us. And
yep,
I'm still learning these lessons. Like I'm still seeing it in relationships, in business endeavors sometimes where it's like also I'm a Capricorn moon, so it's like it's so easy to just like be committed to something but like the wrong thing for longer till it takes you into another cycle of burnout or another cycle of like over giving, so I've been going through that
yeah.
myself.
100%, because the lessons that we learn, it's not like they just completely get solved and learned. We get access to deeper levels of the learning. And I think that was a really difficult thing for me to come to terms with on this journey because I thought like, oh, I found the wound, I found the block, it's fixed, I can move on. And it's like, no, babe, this is your life's work. This is the lesson that you're going to continue learning for the rest of your life. And that actually makes life really interesting. But yeah,
Yeah.
I resonate with that wholeheartedly, especially with pushing through, because it's really easy to fall for the illusion that I'm not pushing through. I have a trip booked. I'm going on vacation next month. That's me taking care of myself. And you leave and you have the amazing vacation and you come back. But because the vacation was just a surface level thing that was, kind of a band aid or treating the symptom rather than actually going to the root, you end up basically creating an excuse for yourself to stay in the push through cycle. And that
Exactly.
is, yeah, the
And
lesson
you
that
know
I am
what's so
also
dangerous?
continually
I think the
learning.
further that we get down these paths of really stepping into ourselves and understanding like the landscape of our inner world and our external world, our language for what we're experiencing becomes so much more advanced. But the like negative side of that is we become even more like manipulative in our ability to convince ourselves as to why we should stay or keep doing the thing, or why like this band-aid is a solution and not just a band-aid, because like we're even more eloquent in how we can rationalize, but still realizing the rationalization process is coming from the mind and not from within.
That hits so hard for me because having the language as someone who like over intellectualizes everything, it's like your ego tricks you into thinking that you're embodied, but embodied can't be it can't be thought, it's felt. And it's like having the language it can be a bit of a trap because you can know everything about human design and meditation and Buddhism and like be so well versed and trick yourself into thinking, I'm good. I'm good. I'm on my path to enlightenment, but you can't think that. And it's
Yeah.
so easy to fall for that trap. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that hits. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, this episode is about you. And we had aligned, as you know, which again, fun story. It's like you were connected, we work together, all of these things because of this podcast, because of this platform. You found
So
us
true.
through Aligned, found me through Aligned, ended up booking a human design reading with me. And lo and behold, now I work with you in your coaching containers, providing my human design expertise to your clients. But something that struck me from the moment that I met you when we did our reading was this embodiment and commitment to yourself and to your purpose. And when we connected, it's like you had already taken those great steps and leaps to leave behind an entire life, an entire identity, an entire reality that was like so ingrained within you, right? Like in your corporate roles, and left that behind in pursuit of alignment, you know? And I remember just thinking right away, I was like, this girl, something's gonna happen here. And having witnessed you now, it's been what, maybe 6 months or so since that first reading, and just witnessing you walk the walk and talk the talk and show up for yourself and show up for your clients and show up for your business in a way that is deeply aligned for you. And as a manifesting generator, single definition, it's like you have the energy for that. And more and more and more, I'm seeing, it's just the online world blowing up. It's already blown up, and it's just now like continuing like the residual waves. And all I feel like I see sometimes is just the same stuff. And so I'm inspired by your ability to kind of like stay connected to your mission. And I would love to hear and introduce our audience to you and your journey. And like, obviously, we'll talk about what it is that you do. But first, it's like, where do you come from? And like, what does alignment mean to you? And how did you find that?
Thank you so much for that reflection because I still feel like I have so much work to do. But in what you just shared, it's a reflection to me that, oh, I am showing up. I am embodied. I probably have access to deeper levels of embodiment, but that was beautiful.
We
So
all
thank
do.
you. Yeah. And it's been a journey. And you've seen me in like almost the midst of a quantum leap, like the 6 months that we've known each other have probably been the most transformative and expansive 6 months for me in my life. A lot has happened in that time, and we can go into that. But yeah, let me tell you a bit about my origin story. So, I'm from Windsor, Ontario. So, for anyone who doesn't know Canada's geography, that's right across the river from Detroit, Michigan. So Canadians think of me as kind of American, which is weird. And yeah, I'm Canadian, straight up. And I grew up in, I had a great childhood. I was the kid who I had three siblings, loving parents. Both parents worked. So there was obviously some conditioning that kind of started ingraining itself then and there from childhood with like my mom who chased her passions. She was a stay-at-home mom for my like the older siblings. And when my younger sister and I were kids, she was like, I'm going to go get my teaching degree. And so she left and she went and she chased her passions and she crushed it. She was top of her class and she started teaching. And that was very inspiring. But of course, as a kid, you're one of your primary caregivers is like you're not their main focus. So it's so interesting because I kind of walked in my mother's footsteps. I was very much like I was the kid that had straight A's, did all the sports, never got into trouble. And like my mission in life was to be the best at whatever I did. And I also had this undercurrent always of wanting to make the world a better place. And in my childish, in my mind as a kid, I thought there's two ways I can do that. One, I can become famous like Britney Spears and sell out stadium concerts and make a lot of money and then donate it all to solve world hunger. Okay, that was number one. I was like, maybe. And I did try out for Canadian Idol, by the way. So there was a part of me that actually wanted to, that had the dream on that direction. The second way I thought was become a doctor. Don't ask me why. I mean, I'm a millennial, so like, it was still very much ingrained for us that you're either a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, right? This the
Yep.
standard industries. So yeah, I pursued the sciences in university with the intention of going to med school. And in my university years, I realized I'm burnout prone. And I always knew that as a kid, even in my teenage years, but it was like, oh, this is what it's like to be kind of on the verge of becoming an adult, and I'm burnout prone. And Erin, I don't like blood. I'm not gonna be a contender to be a doctor. It's just not gonna happen for me. So yeah, that plan just kind of like it was like the floor had disappeared from under me. And a mentor of mine told me or asked me what I thought about doing an MBA. And it's so funny because I track now that I'm aware of my human design and my strategy, which is to wait to respond. In that moment when he said, Jess, you should do an MBA, I was like, yeah, obviously. Like, why did I not think about this before? So that was like evidence of me following my sacral authority and the strategy waiting to respond. That came to me. I was like, absolutely, this is the thing. So I wrote my GMAT, I did my MBA, ended up concentrating in marketing, which led me into my career. And so I worked for 10 years or so in my corporate kind of career. I started in marketing. I pivoted into sales about halfway through and then progressed into sales leadership. And I realized about 2 years ago that I was in a cycle, that every 2 years I would get bored and I had no idea what human design was at the time. I'm a manifesting generator, so this makes total sense as a multi-passionate that I would get bored, but I would shame myself for it because, I grew up with the linear path. You graduate university, you get your job, you climb the corporate ladder, you make a lot of money, and then you enjoy your life when you're retired. You've earned the right to enjoy your life when you're retired. And here I was trying to climb the corporate ladder, doing a good job on paper, but I would get so bored, which is why I pivoted from marketing to sales. And then when I got into sales leadership, I was like, this is going to be it. I want to lead people. I want to guide people. That's what I want. And there was in like the dream job guiding, mentoring, coaching people. It was amazing, but still something wasn't feeling right. There was still a fundamental misalignment for me. And I was in such resistance to that because I was looking at my life and I was like, this is everything I've wanted. I'm making great money. I'm getting steady promotions. I'm respected at work. I'm valued at work. I work with amazing people. I have an amazing partner. Like, I'm living in my dream apartment. Like, what is wrong with me? Why is this not enough? And that's when I realized this has nothing to do with my outer life circumstance and everything to do with what's happening on the inside. And I had been practicing yoga and meditation. Like, I've been doing that since I was 18. And meditation is something that I've always been drawn to. Also, can't really explain it, right? The things that have propelled me to the most alignment have almost always been the things that don't make sense in the moment, but that I just do anyway. And like, I could give you the whole long story about how that took me to Africa and France and all these different countries. Like, so many of these pivotal moments in my life did not make sense at the time, but it's who I am. And when I realized, like, okay, I've been meditating for 10 years and I only just came to this realization that this is this is me. I need to go inward. And that's really what propelled me to
Mm-hmm.
leave the corporate world for a bit. My plan was always to go back, but I knew I needed at least, I gave myself 3 months. I was like, I need to leave. I need nothing. I need to just go inward. Like, and it didn't even occur to me to like take a mental health leave. I just quit my job. But there were also signs that I was just starting to understand human design and to understand that I was a manifesting generator and a sacral energy type. And all of these signs, all of these things were happening in my environment, which were giving my sacral things to respond to. And like three big things happened at the company I was working for that were so obvious. Like, Jess, this is your moment. Is it a yes or a no?
Mm-hmm.
And it was so obviously a no to stay and a yes to leaving. But it didn't make sense because I didn't have a backup. And I was like, you know what? This is my moment to listen and to trust and see what happens. And flash forward 2 years later, I'm full time in my coaching business, mentoring and guiding ambitious women in corporate to connect with their purpose. And I'm like living the dream life that I journaled about 2 years ago. So that's a little bit about me. And like, without knowing that my design was guiding me this whole time, it was. Now I have the language and the knowledge and the awareness. So that has led me to be able to embody my purpose and who I truly am at my core at a much deeper level. And really, at the end of the day, I mean, and this is really basic, I mean, it's coming back to the signature self and not self themes in human design. Alignment to me is satisfaction, straight up is. Alignment to me is, in a business sense, it's getting paid to be me. It's not needing to show up as a version of me that I'm expected or I think I'm expected to be. And I've, yeah, realized that that's when not only my highest success is available to me, because to me, there's a level of success that's involved in alignment. But yeah, it's being balanced with myself and being in love with my life straight up. That's what it is.
Yeah. And that's also part of, I mean, again, I think this goes for everyone, right? Because even when we say like, oh, you're a sacral type or a non-sacral or whatever, it's like we always have to remember as well. These are just like subtle patterns about our energy, but we all have access to the full spectrum of energy, right? Of every energy center, of every channel, right? So it's like there's going to be resonance with everything, but for sacrals, sacral energy is also like it's pleasure, right? It's sexual energy, it's desire. So, like, if you're not in love with your life, if you're not like really like making it a priority to experience pleasure in your daily existence, well, how could you be satisfied? Because part of satisfaction is also like experiencing pleasure. And pleasure in the little things, pleasure in the big things, right? Like it doesn't matter where you get it from, but that's part of like what's fueling you, right? And that's when it gets to be fun, is like when
Hmm.
you get to create, like, how can I generate more pleasure in my life?
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a story and a feeling that I was in resistance to for most of my life because as a kid, I thought, obviously there was playtime, but when it came to academics, it was like pleasure is earned. Pleasure is secondary. You do your work first and then you get rewarded. And that's very normal. Like, whatever. That's a part of most of our conditioning in the Western world. But when I got into corporate, it was like it got so twisted because I have so much energy and I am so motivated, but I was using the wrong fuel. I was using the fuel of like external validation, and pleasure went out the window. It was like, oh no, but my pleasure is work and progression and evolution in work.
Yeah.
And then I
And
would
it's
like,
funny with
spend
that.
a little time.
Yeah. And well, it's funny with that because it's it's filling a hole, right? So when we seek external validation, when we're proving ourselves, it's filling up a hole that we're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And we can attach to that identity because part of like what our subconscious thinks is, okay, I'm not good enough. So I'm going to go and prove myself based on accolades, based on how much I can do, based on, how I compete against those around me. And I'm going to construct an identity of the version of myself that I think is good enough. And what is that identity? Okay, she's a go-getter. She's
Mm-hmm.
proactive. She's committed. She's like disciplined. She's a boss babe, right? And I'm now going to attach myself to that identity so strong that I truly believe that it is me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you can can confirm,
Oh,
letting go of that identity is one of the hardest things to do on
yeah.
this journey.
Yeah. I thought I let go of it, right? Totally. I thought by leaving, again, this comes back to if I can change my external environment, I leave that identity. Nope, that's not how it works. Because I started my business and that version of me still lived in my body and creeped into everything that I did. And it's so funny, Erin. I found the notes from the reading that we did that I came to you for. And the thing that I had highlighted, I took a lot of notes, but the one thing highlighted on this page is because of a specific thing in my chart is missing inbuilt sense of security and creating a fake sense of security, which you just described by like constructing this identity and realizing that the worthiness wound, which comes from the undefined heart center, is where my work is. And so anchoring in worthiness and the truth that I'm worthy of unlimited success, unlimited health, wealth, joy, pleasure as I am, and I don't need to work for it. Oh my gosh, I'm still anchoring that in every single day. I still don't fully believe it. And that's okay. That's part of the deconditioning process is a long process. But I wholeheartedly resonate and empathize with that.
Yeah. And again, it just goes back to like lifelong journey. It
Yeah.
never ends. And
Which is
it's like,
what makes this interesting, to be
it
honest.
does. It does.
Yeah. If we had all the answers right now, how boring would that be?
Yeah. Well, again, we wouldn't come and incarnate to have this experience.
No.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. I think it's like realizing that obviously this is such a cliche thing to say, but it's true. We both know this is true that everything is always working out for your highest good. Everything. Even the shitty things, the things that you think you are not going to be able to get through or get past. And that can be really triggering. But that is part of your embodiment journey, how you hold yourself through those challenges and those moments.
yeah.
And oh my gosh, starting my own business was one of the most confronting things I ever did. And I thought it would be easy because this is a marketing and sales girly. I'm like that I can market and sell the shit out of myself. Like, this is going to be easy. And no, it was the most confronting and challenging thing I've ever done, because when you own your own business and when you become your own source of income, everything, you're in like a fun house of mirrors where all of your shadows are showing up and laughing in your face, and it's absolutely wild. And I credit my business and my aligned decision. I didn't feel ready for it, but I did it anyway. I listened to my like sacral guidance, and yeah, didn't feel ready for it, but I credit it for how my journey over the last year and a half. I'm a completely different person. It would have taken me probably 10 years to embody this journey that I just went through in less than two. So what does that tell you? It's like, yeah, there's so much. So much.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. So as you were going through this transition, and like I said, there's many transitions within the big transitions too.
Yeah.
What helped you anchor into like yourself and your intuition,
Mm.
even at a time where it felt so heavy or so scary or so impossible?
I love this question, and I feel extraordinarily privileged to have a twin flame in my partner, who is now my husband. And I actually think if I track my journey back, because I had some pretty toxic romantic relationships in my life, I've experienced some pretty horrific things. And when I met who's now my husband, it started as friendship, of course, but as the years went on and like our relationship was very solid, I felt so safe. I felt safe to be seen, safe to be in my vulnerability. He's also a generator. I'm pretty sure he's a sacral generator. And he's so steady and level. And in that safety, which I am missing, the inbuilt sense of safety, it was the comfort that I needed to be able to go on the journey. So, really, like, I probably would have found that eventually in myself, but finding it in him in my mid 20s was a game changer, or maybe it was my late 20s, because it was like this was the container that I could now go inward. And in all of my previous relationships, like, I'm someone who is constantly growing and evolving, and that was really threatening to previous partners. And in Grant, my husband, he always celebrated me. And I would go through something and come out of it with a different level of embodiment and a big lesson. And he never flinched. He was like, "That's amazing. Like, what are you going to do next?" You know? So that was a big piece, was having that kind of safety net. And this is why I feel abundantly privileged to have found him. And I mean, I found him. He was part of my journey, part of my path. Like, my sacral literally led me to him. And yeah, it was, and I always say this even to some of my clients who, like, it's very easy to shame ourselves when we have this desire to grow into something or to evolve into something, and we think we have to do it by ourselves. And like, okay, like, I get it. There is a lot of value in working through these things on our own, but it is easier to embody something on the inside when you have a good example of it on the outside. And this comes to, like, you know, you also being very selective, me being very selective about the energies that I let into my aura, into my field. And I was reckless with that for most of my life. I was giving my energy to anyone and everything. And then when I started being more intentional about who I allowed into my field, you know, I actually do believe that you are the average of like the 5 people that you spend the most time with. I used to be so in resistance to that a bit. That's not a thing. Yes, it is. Straight up. So having him as an example of this is what it feels like to be safe really helped me anchor in that sense of safety and worthiness in myself. Straight up.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And
I know
again,
the
it's like
feminist
also
in me
you
wants to
put in,
take it all back, but it is my truth.
yeah. Well, allow that also for anyone listening, like, and going back to kind of what you said previously too, it's like we need to see to believe. So the fact of like that transition from toxic relationships to truly finding something where you are so seen and held in that container, like it's showing people what's possible. And I'm sure that you
Yeah.
can attest, like, if you have to question whether someone's bringing you safety and security and acceptance in your relationship, you're probably not getting it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
100%. Yeah. Yeah. And that goes with now I'm really learning what that means in the sense of following my sacral, which is when you get those moments where you're like, and your mind wants to tell you, no, no, you should do that. Yes, it's a yes. But you're like, I don't know. It's a no. Unless it's an absolute full body yes, it's a no. And it's like the excuses that we love to make to, conform to the expectation of how we're meant to walk through the world and how we're meant to show up can really fuck with those decisions. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yes to that because I, made excuses to stay in a lot of situations. Relationships, yes. Jobs, yes. Friendships, yes. That had all they had already served their purpose. It was time to move on. Like, but we love to make excuses to just stay a little bit longer, right? The stories the mind
Absolutely.
tells us. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, what for you does, as someone with sacral intuition, what does a
Mm.
sacral yes feel like in your body?
Mm. Yeah, I'm in the aligned sacral pathway right now. And I'm actually like relearning. It's giving me the new language, or it's bringing me back to the basics of, oh yeah, that's what it is. To me, it's like, it almost feels as though a vibration is taking over my entire body. And it's like a instant zap. It's kind of like an electrification. And I can track back some of the moments in my life where I've had like the very intense, like I was just hit by lightning. And sometimes the vibrations are a little bit more subtle, but if I feel it in my whole body, it is a yes. That's why I call it a full body yes, because it's like something overtakes me. So I know the sacral is connected to the gut. I don't always necessarily feel like a rumble in my gut. It really is like it takes over my whole body. And it is the immediate, like the sound for me is like, yeah, yeah, obviously. It's an obviously.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
interesting. I wonder too if it's partially because you have single definition, meaning all of your energy centers are connected and it goes full root to head. It's as
Mm-hmm.
if like probably like the moment your sacral turns on, it just disperses up your
Yeah.
body, up your
I think
entire
that's what it
spine
is.
in a way.
Yeah, straight up. Because even like I'm learning so much more about the chakra system, especially since doing my yoga teacher training, which the yoga teacher training is a good example of so many times that opportunity came into my field and I ignored the full body yes. I made excuses. No, not now. You can't take the time off work. Not even you can't afford to take the time off work. Like you just can't.
Yeah.
And as I'm learning about the full chakra system and I look at my human design that I am fully defined from root to crown, which my my business mentor right now, who is quite the human design expert, has never seen that. So I don't know how common or uncommon that is. Everyone's design is so uniquely different, but it does feel like all of my chakras, all of my like energetic centers come online. And I know for a fact that I've been imbalanced in specific chakras, and I know the ones that are my problem children, but that is what it feels like straight up. Yeah,
Wow.
it's a great feeling.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you do now, like to stay centered in your body, to stay connected to your sacral? Like, what do you do as maintenance to continue to feel, not like your mind and your conditioning is overtaking you, and that you're giving your energy to the places where it's needed?
Yeah, this is a constant work in progress. I know I've said this a million times already. And one practice that really grounds me is journaling. So, a book that I picked up when I was feeling really like lost and confused in corporate, where I was like, my life is perfect. Why am I not satisfied? Was The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And that was a game changer for me because I've always been an artistic and creative person, but because I was so in my head and so in the identity of like the corporate hustle boss babe, art and creation immediately it always took the back seat. And so this invited me back into my like inner creator, my inner artist. And in doing that, one of the prescriptions in Julia Cameron's curriculum is like non-negotiable daily morning pages. So stream of consciousness writing first thing waking up. I don't necessarily do it first thing waking up because I've learned to listen to my sacral. So I've tried routines, and as a manifesting generator, they bore me. So I do really need to wake up and first thing tune in, like, what do I feel like right now? And sometimes I feel like sleeping in. Sometimes I feel like immediately doing a yoga flow. Other times I feel like journaling right away, and other times I feel like learning. So I'll hop into the Aligned platform, or I'll hop into a masterclass that I've had kind of like in my archives, or and I'll go and I'll learn for a couple of hours. But journaling usually makes an appearance at some point in my day to get the thoughts out of my head, so that it gives me two opportunities actually. It helps me get the thoughts out of my head and get some psychological distance from the voices, the conditioned voices that are so often running the show. And the second thing it offers for me is it actually gives me something to respond to. So as I see my thoughts kind of come through onto the page, usually I won't look at it like right away, but I'll flip back to look at what I wrote a few days ago and see if there's something that I can respond to, that I can feel a sacral hit. And you like often it's things like dreams, right? That I'll write about, and then I'll get mired down by the daily administrative tasks of running a business. And I'll come back to it and I'll be like, oh yeah, I was journaling about my like going to southern France and like either doing a residency or hosting a retreat. And that's still like my sacral was immediately lit up by that. But I forgot about it, or I let myself get distracted. So journaling has been a really lovely practice to continually come back. And I mean, it's daily meditation. It's always coming back to my body and reconnecting with my mission, because even though I'm a manifesting generator, I'm multi-passionate and I pivot, I move fast. I've done the work to get really clear on what my bigger life vision is. What is my big mission? And like, I'm here to raise consciousness. And that's a big thing. And it can be overwhelming at times. You're like, who are you to raise consciousness? Like, whatever. But that's what it is. And when I can come back to that mission, whether it's raising consciousness in women in corporate who are very much in their minds, or whatever it is, the the container, the vehicle through which I do that can change a lot, but the vision doesn't change. So when I'm able to reconnect with that on a daily basis, and usually that comes into my morning ritual to really set the tone for my day, so I'm kind of long-winded, but there's always a practice in my morning to realign with my vision and my mission, and to come into my body, whether that's moving it through an intuitive yoga flow, whether it's sitting in meditation, whether it's journaling and giving myself a chance to respond. But it does change. It's a combination of kind of the usual suspects,
Yeah.
every single day. Yeah. And like
Yeah.
not working so much, Erin. Holy, I still love working. I love working. Such a good dopamine hit, you know? Like, ooh, just outreached 50 people. That feels great. It's like, okay. Like realizing also when I'm in my old conditioned like hustle mode. It still happens all the time. And then I'm like, wait, how does my body feel right now? Is this lighting me up? Nope. All right. What are we gonna go do? This is still a new practice for me of checking in and being like, is this lighting you up right now? I'm like, no, it's not. All right, is this a non-negotiable? Like, can we put a time limit on it? And then what are we going to go do to fill up the cup? And like that is a whole level of embodiment. That's what I'm in right now. That's what I'm practicing and
Yeah.
still learning. Yeah.
That's really powerful though. Like that's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
And
I
again,
know.
it's like
And
it takes being the observer, right? And
yeah.
it's like those synapses don't change right away, but if you can observe them and notice yourself when you're in the pattern or in the loop, and then you know the right questions to ask yourself to get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes or no questions, baby. Is this lighting you up? No. Okay. What are we going to do about it? And I always thought that I was good at following my strategy. And I'm saying always, as in when I, you know, first charted my human design, which would have been probably 2 years ago. I thought, oh yeah, I can, I do that. I'm good. And it's so interesting because when I went into the sacral pathway through Aligned, which I think it all comes down to intention as well. Like, I'm not just doing the sacral pathway to learn. I'm not. I'm actually doing it intentionally to come back to my body. And I was actually just in a module recently where you were the one presenting. And it was like, even the fact that my strategy is not just to respond, it's to wait to respond. And I leave out conveniently to wait all the time, right? I'm like, yeah, my strategy is to respond. I respond to everything. No, it's to wait to respond, Jess. Like, I struggle with that hard because as a manifesting generator, and I have some manifestor tendencies and conditioning of wanting to initiate, I initiate all the time. All the time. Even recently, I looked. In fact, I think I might have initiated this podcast episode where I reached out to you and I was like, Erin, we should chat. Like, I'm doing the aligned pathway, like this still feels aligned. But recently, I initiated, this is so simple, in my group chat with my yoga teacher training friends who, like, this is my sisterhood and brotherhood that I feel so connected with them. I love them. And we've all been missing the like chanting, the kirtan element of coming together and like feeling the resonance. And I don't really have that community here in Halifax, and a lot of people are missing that community in their own cities. And what do? I initiate in the WhatsApp group. Why don't we put together a Zoom, like a monthly Zoom where we come together and we do some chanting? I'll set it up. And then as soon as I put it there, I got some responses. Immediately I felt drained. I was like, I don't want to set it up. I don't like having holds in my calendar. I don't like it. The amount of times that I've done this where I'm like, I'll just set up a recurring meeting. Okay, let's do this. I immediately felt drained. And someone may come back and say, hey, should we do this? And it'll be a full sacral yes. But because I initiated it, I threw my energy, right? And without checking in, without having something to respond to. Yes, I was responding to a point like where everyone's like, oh, I'm really missing this. And then I took it upon myself to fix it, right?
And remembering, if you go back to your motivation, you have hope motivation in human design, which again is this like undercurrent of our energy. And you're the person who's just, it's gonna figure itself out. The moment you start to fix, you're in your transference, you're in guilt.
Yeah,
you're not here to be the fixer. You're here to be the beacon of hope, of like, of glass half full, everything's going to work out. This is all going to be great. And also the other thing with strategy is because sometimes we think like these are just like rules and regulations of like, okay, this is how I make an aligned decision, or this is how I know something's right for me. But it's also like a protection mechanism, because without something to respond to, your sacral cannot tell you, I have the energy for this or not. Right? So that's why you feel drained right after initiating, even though it's something like that excites you in theory. In practice, like your sacral didn't give you the go ahead, and therefore you're already putting yourself in a position of like energy drain and leaky energy. And then you maybe won't follow through on the thing, which is then going to perpetuate the undefined emotional or the undefined ego of like, like I'm not good enough. Like I didn't follow through with the thing, or I want to give it
Yep.
up. And then you
Yep.
get back into those like loops and those cycles. So that's such a good example. And also kudos to you for the recognition and the realization, because
Yeah.
most people don't get
Yeah.
there.
It's the lesson. And that is, so now I'm practicing intention. This is recent where I'm intentionally practicing to wait. And like, I also realize that there's a story inside of me that's like, oh, to wait is equals lazy, equals complacency. And I love that you often share this in the Aligned platform and in your own messaging, that waiting isn't about being a bystander. It's about redirecting your focus to filling your cup so that you're available for the opportunities that are inevitably attracted to you. Like, I am magnetic. I am. I undervalue that all the time. But it's like the frustration of, but it's not going fast enough. But the opportunity,
Mm.
like, I want to create the opportunity for myself. If I'm not going to do, like, it's so interesting that's part of my work, is to also face the shadows that come with waiting. And so even like this week has been, this week, like that's recent, where I'm being very intentional about not working in the blocks that I'm used to working. And like on Wednesday, I went to a Nordic spa and did a thermal circuit. I didn't make the appointment. I was like, it's 2 p.m. This is what I feel like doing. I'm going to see if there's an opening. There was, I'm going. And I did. And it was exactly what I needed. And the inspiration that I was looking for dropped in my moments of contemplation. Nothing else, like, it's not like a huge opportunity became available to me right then and there. But it's like that deconditioning and that creation of space to fill my cup in order to magnetize the things that are for me. That's my journey. That's the point that I'm in my journey right now, is really leaning in. Again, you could have asked me this 3 months ago and I would have been like, yeah, I'm in surrender. Like, I'm working on it. You can't work on being in surrender. That's the opposite. It's literally the opposite. Yeah. So that is the stage that I'm at in my journey. And like, I can already see the results, which is wild. That's not why I'm doing it, right? Like, it can never be about the results. Otherwise, like, you're missing the point. But already, like, the people that have come into my world just through Instagram and social media, for example, I'm like, didn't even know this person was in my orbit. And they're like, hey, I'm interested in your work. I'm like, what? I just spent a day doing a thermal circuit at a Nordic spa. I didn't outreach you. I didn't initiate this conversation. What do you mean? Because that's the conditioning that I'm used to. I'm used to being in initiation. No shit, I was constantly burnt out. Constantly burnt out. Like, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. There are so many golden nuggets in this episode. You should be so proud of yourself. I know that you are.
Mm.
And I'm so proud of you. Like, it's so beautiful to witness and to be a part of this journey with you. And yeah, it just also goes to show that, you know, as you continue to do this work and commit to yourself and all of that, it's like the world around you starts to like reorchestrate, right? And the people that come into your field and the collaborations and the opportunities and the invitations, like the whole
Yeah,
world changes as you change, right? It's
it
like, we want
does.
to change the
Yeah,
world, we want to have an impact. This is where it starts.
I know. That's literally it. That's my passion. And I'm like, this is how you make the world a better place, is actually you become selfish and you figure out what brings you joy. Who are you? It's not
Yeah.
who are you to the world. No, it's who are you in your authentic essence, in your
Yeah.
original essence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're
Right.
actually in alignment with that, you don't even realize the ripple
Yeah.
effect. That's how we
Yeah.
make the world a better place.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
like, you want world peace? Do you have peace within you?
exactly.
You look at the people, the biggest advocates for change, and sometimes they're embodying the exact same thing that they want to change
I
in the
know.
world. How
Which
can
makes
you?
sense
Yeah,
because
of
they
course.
think that that's how they're going to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, before we wrap up, I would love for you to just share what it is that you do and how people can connect with you. And then
Of
I will let you
course.
go on to this beautiful Friday.
Amazing. Yeah. So I'm a purpose coach, and it's so funny. I've been struggling just recently with coach because I feel my how I'm embodied in my work is really I'm a guide. And I think it's taken me some time to like come into union with that. So this might turn into a slightly different title, but really I'm an intuitive leadership and purpose guide. So I work with women in corporate who feel this bigger vision on their heart, but don't necessarily have the tools, the frameworks. And I say tools and frameworks because women in corporate, we love our left brain language. It's like you want something to figure out what is out of alignment with you. They know that it's going to be some of the inner work, and that's really what I do. A lot of people come to me thinking like, I want to figure out what my next career move is. I want a promotion. I want to build the confidence that I can show up this way. And it's like, okay, yeah, but it's always the inner work. Those are just the results, the consequences of the inner shifts that need to happen, the embodiment that needs to happen. So yeah, I work with women in corporate in either one-to-one settings or in my group coaching container, which Erin is a collaborator of mine, where everyone who comes into my world gets a human design reading. That's part of my methodology. So I really use a combination, classic manifesting generator, a combination that is continually evolving. Human design, gene keys, positive intelligence, meditation, mindfulness, a lot of yoga philosophy coming in, and embodied and intuitive guidance to usually help women like get back to what is the vision. It's there. You actually already know what it is. And once you realize, oh, it's not delusional. That's just my conditioning telling me that it is. We put very specific, sometimes strategic plans in place to move in an aligned way and create a plan to bring that vision into action. Some women end up creating businesses and going and doing their own coaching or consulting thing, which is amazing. But not everyone is fully there for the full move, like I'm starting a business today. But it's knowing the direction that you're going in. And all of a sudden, when you're connected to that vision, everything makes sense. The 9 to 5 has deeper meaning. All of a sudden, the job is working for you instead of the other way around. So in a nutshell, that's what I do. And it's what I'm really passionate about, is bringing women back to their truth so that they can walk in alignment. They can step into their power, because I truly believe that's how we make the world a better place. So I am planning like my first retreat. That's something that I probably shouldn't even mention because I'm like in the organization stage, but I guess that's me keeping myself accountable by putting it out into the world. And yeah, my business is continually evolving. As a manifesting generator, I do tend to pivot and move fast. I've been attracting a lot of women who already know that they want to start their own thing. And so it's turned into a little bit of business mentorship as well. So yeah, that's the beauty of what I do. It really evolves in response to what people need. I have a podcast. So the podcast is called Purpose Uprising. Erin has been on it. It's all about ordinary people doing extraordinary things simply by living in their purpose and in alignment with who they are. So you can check that out. And I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn. LinkedIn, the land of corporate, crisp, white button-up shirts. And I like to bring a little human element to that platform. So you can follow me. You can follow me there. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I will add all of your links into the show notes and all that good stuff so people can connect with you.
Oh, that was me. That was a fire alarm.
Fire alarm?
Fire on fire over here. Well, I don't know what that means.
Well, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure as always. I'm always so grateful to be able to chat with you and connect. And every time I'm just like, oh, this girl gets it. So
thank you. We're continuing to get it. And honestly, being in rooms with women like you, that's really what makes this possible, is continually being reminded of what embodiment looks and feels like. So you have created an incredible container aligned with this podcast, but also you as a human. Like, I'm so grateful to be in your orbit and to get to work with you. It truly is. It truly feels aligned. Like that is
Oh,
the full chakra,
wow. Thank
full
you for the
body. Like,
recognition. Little
yeah,
projector food for
truly.
me. Thank you. Really means a lot.
Yeah.
And again, I'm so grateful. And I'm sure this won't be the last time that you show your face on this platform in this community. So have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you, Erin. Same to you.